Tough questions were asked of Brian Allman, the sheriff's candidate by the Democratic Committee.
Let me correct two inconsistencies. Number one, to the woman in the back.
Sheriff candidate Brian Allman came to the Democratic Party and asked to join the party, but the party wasn't so sure they wanted him based on what he'd said publicly. And the question leading off was, are you really comparing our sheriff's department to the Gestapo? Our objections aside, that's just too far. At least that's what one woman said who knew personally about the experience of World War II and the Gestapo.
I never ever said anything about Gestapo tactics with the sheriff's office. What I said was, I'm going to eliminate the Gestapo black uniforms. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
But Brian's comment in the newspaper talked about the sheriff's office military/Gestapo attitude.
No, I wrote the article. I wrote it. I know exactly what I said.
Next up were questions about how he spoke to a lawyer several years ago, resulting in a criminal conviction that was overturned on appeal. Brian rightly reported that the conviction was overturned, but discounted the content of what he said that upset so many nevertheless.
And to say that you may not like what I've done in the past or that I'm a nominee, that has nothing to do with whether or not I'm allowed to become a Democratic member of this committee, this party.
When one committee member asked him if he had made the heinous sexual remarks that are cited in the opinion, he said he had. Malcolm Baldwin said to Brian, you know, we really think there should be some moral qualification for membership in the Loudoun County Democratic Committee.
Specifically.
When Brian said specifically, Malcolm Baldwin answered, well, why then would you choose the Republican and announce he would be your first deputy if you were elected? Malcolm Baldwin said, personally, I don't think we should accept you as our candidate for sheriff.
I appreciate your opinion.
Brian announced that he was going to appoint the recent Republican nominee for sheriff as his #1 person, which upset many Democrats. But the real kicker was that Noble didn't want the position.
Yeah, I have one question, and it's sequence. Even if Noble was the greatest possible second in control in the sheriff's department, why in the world, as a candidate, would you A, choose a person who'd just been a Republican nominee and who has said publicly since you didn't talk to him and he had nothing to do with it? So in other words, you embarrassed yourself without talking to him, saying you'd appoint a person who has no interest in the job.
Sir, I floated the question. I didn't offer him the job.
But why didn't you talk to him first? It makes no sense.
I think it was the best way to do it was to just do that.
What, you're going to embarrass him into work?
Brian fielded the questions and made his own comments, and next month the committee will decide whether or not he can become a member of the Loudoun County Democratic Committee.